So today I thought I'd make a video that's frankly long overdue. Those of you who've been with me for longer than a few months will remember when my channel revolved completely around the so-called COD killer, Titanfall. Much as it pains me to admit, I was essentially the allié of Titanfall for a while there, albeit hopefully much less annoying. Just thinking about it makes me cringe slightly, but I was genuinely so excited for the game, and in the absence of any other ideas for my channel, I threw all my chips in with Titanfall. If the game was as much of a success as it was tipped to be, that meant success for me too, right? Well, I suppose we shall never know, because 4 months on, the only PC game with fewer players in multiplayer lobbies is Call of Duty Ghosts. So what went wrong? How did a game with such promise flop so totally, both on YouTube and in general? Let's start at the beginning. I honestly can't remember the last time there was as much hype and anticipation in the build-up to a game's release as there was for Titanfall. A few different games have been touted as possible COD killers over the years, but Titanfall showed more potential than most. All the right ingredients were there. It was being developed by the very same people who were behind the revolutionary Call of Duty 4 and the batshit crazy epicness of Modern Warfare 2, and who were given the freedom by EA to produce something truly spectacular. Many die-hard COD fans such as myself, feeling disappointed and lost after the pure horror of Ghosts, saw Titanfall as something of a saviour. The first chinks in the game's armour started to appear when they announced that AI bots would be in every multiplayer match. Having previously played League of Legends and Dota 2, I immediately understood the role that they would play and why they were there in the first place, but for many, it was an instant source of confusion and bewilderment. What really sealed Titanfall's fate, however, is just how casual the game was designed to be. Not only does every single player get a Titan, multiple times a match, regardless of skill or how well they're doing, but in Attrition, the flagship game mode, you can actually win by killing AI only and avoiding those pesky human players altogether. For me, this extreme casual approach meant that while the game was unquestionably a lot of fun, it could only hold my attention for so long. I remember enjoying the beta immensely, getting gameplays galore as I went entire matches without dying, scything through enemies and bots alike, but only a couple of weeks after release, I began to realise that pretty much every single match was going to be like this. It was just ridiculously easy to do well on Titanfall, and the real killer was that there was no reward for doing so. There was no nuke or Moab that good players could strive for, no elite challenges for doing particularly well. The other problem with very casual games is that they're simply not that entertaining to watch. Whilst the amazingly fast-paced action of Titanfall can certainly appear competitive at times, especially for someone who already knows what's going on, I feel like the bots ruined that experience for a lot of people. Call of Duty is also infamously casual, but at least every kill is on another human, and the simple element of kill streaks is, for me, what made COD such a success on YouTube. There's one final reason the hype for Titanfall tailed off so quickly. They missed out on a huge opportunity for customization. In the run-up to release, the game was constantly compared to Halo and Call of Duty, two games which hit the nail on the head in this regard. Halo allowed players to show off their achievements via a fantastic armor and emblem customization system, while COD kept me grinding away for months for those elusive emblems, titles, and gun camos. When Titanfall launched, however, the lack of any such features was almost laughable for a modern AAA title. I mean, for fuck's sake, you couldn't even change the name of your loadouts until they patched it in later. Combine that with the small number of weapons and attachments, and you have a real problem when it comes to longevity. The real tragedy here is that Titanfall actually launched really well. The beta already felt like a finished product, and there were no game-breaking bugs or glitches anywhere to be seen, something that's not that common these days. It made an absolute mockery of BF4 and DICE, although I actually have a theory that EA told Respawn to make sure, above all else, that they didn't have a repeat of that unpleasant episode. Perhaps that's the real reason for the bizarre lack of content and depth in Titanfall, not that EA would ever admit it. All of that said, the game actually did a lot better than most people think, selling 3 million copies and doubling Xbox One sales in the week of release. It might not have been the runaway blockbuster that everyone predicted, but it remains an important game, and one with a lot of future potential. Respawn have shown themselves to be a thoroughly awesome game developer, with the best community interaction we've seen in ages. It's a long way off yet, but I'm predicting right now that Titanfall 2 is going to be a force to be reckoned with.